Good morning and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 3rd of July. It is Wednesday. We do have an 11-game main slate in front of us. Shouldn't have any weather to worry about too much. Possibly some rain in Kansas City again, but aside from that, we should be pretty clear. I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play on FanDuel, I would cut my pitcher pool in about a half, maybe even to a third, depending. You don't have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight when it comes to stacking. With that said, let's take a look at some pitching. We get Chris Sale, who's been filthy with the Braves. 7-0 in 8 home starts. K numbers aren't as strong at home, but they're still pretty good. His walk numbers are better when at home. It's just overall just a strong pitcher no matter where he's pitching. He's a minus 205 favorite in this one. K prop of 7.5. Juice strongly on the over as well. The best K prop on the slate today belongs to Chris Sale. Obvious choice for me up at the top. Probably has to be your SP1 for cash games. Zach Wheeler hasn't been as good on the road, so that is definitely a worry. But, I mean, one of his bad road starts that led to inflated numbers, one of the two real ones, obviously was against Baltimore. And we know that that's going to happen. He does have a K prop of 7.5. Juice is on the under right now. He is a minus 115 favorite. Game total of just 7.5. Looks like the wind's blowing across the field in Wrigley. Not very strong. It is going to be warm, but still. Zach Wheeler definitely has the upside to be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. I just would prefer Chris Sale at this point. I prefer Wheeler over Logan Gilbert. I know he's had some pretty elite starts of late. 31 plus in 2 out of his last 3. But we're talking about an elite Baltimore offense. So it's really tough to want to use a pitcher against them. He is a minus 125 favorite. Game total is just 7. So we're probably going to have to consider him. K prop is 6.5. Juice is on the under. He's just going to fall behind the top 2 for me on this slate, but probably all 3 are in play. Blanco, certainly capable, having a pretty impressive season. Toronto is the team that he no-hit. So there's a little bit of a revenge factor going on for Toronto. Coming off a game where he gave up 3 home runs. He can have a home run issue. Right now, I think I'm going to plan on using Blanco, but he's going to be one of the first guys I look to remove from my pool. His K prop is just 4.5 with Juice on the under. He is a minus 118 favorite, but I'm just not sure he's going to have the upside. His K numbers really haven't been there. The walks have been up. I'm just not overly excited to use him. So any chance I get, I will be removing him from my pool, just depending on where we end up as the afternoon progresses. Imanaga. I am tempted to use Imanaga at this point. His K to walk rate at home has been phenomenal, which is where he's at today. He's had some recent bad starts. Obviously, the Philadelphia lineup is weaker without Schwarber and Harper. But, I mean, those are 2 left-handed bats. And I assume Imanaga has been pretty difficult on left-handed bats. I don't have his splits in front of me. His Ks have been down the last couple, which obviously is a worry. I don't think I'm going to end up with Imanaga. I mean, right now he's probably going to make the pool, but it's not somebody I feel excited about using based on recent trends. K prop of 5.5. This is actually a pretty decent K prop. So this is one I'm just going to want to dig into the matchup a little bit more. Kind of Blanco and Imanaga are kind of similar to me. I really need to look into things to get a definitive answer one way or another. I mean, based on his upside, that $8,700 price point is interesting based on what he's been able to do at times this season. Gavin Stone, coming off of a complete game shutout, gets a couple extra days of rest. Um, I think he's definitely in play. He did struggle against Arizona the first time he faced them. His home numbers haven't been as strong as his road numbers. K prop of 4.5. He's sitting as a minus 198 favorite. So he's certainly viable. I'm just not excited to use Stone, but he probably actually makes more sense than Imanaga does, and maybe even more sense than Blanco does tonight. Um, so another thing for me to debate. Yeah, we're gonna have a few pitchers that are like this, but creating a pitcher pool shouldn't be just super simple. Um, we want to be able to dig in a little deeper to get an idea, of what we're looking at, where we might find some under-owned plays. Carlos Rodon is going to be in play for me. He's looked terrible his last three. I get it. But Cincinnati overall, I believe their team numbers against left-handed pitchers are not overly strong. He's a minus 185 home favorite. I believe he had a K prop of 6.5. Yep, 6.5. Juice is on the under, but pretty strong K prop for Rodon. And he's been much better when pitching at home this season. So I think I am going to use him. It is a dangerous one, but I think this is a matchup that offers some upside. So I'm willing to take those chances. Kikuchi, we've definitely used a few times this year, but I'm just not overly excited to use him. So I'm going to end up passing on Kikuchi. Abbott against the Yankees, no thanks. Davis Daniel. Now here is the biggest question for me. Is everybody going to chase that massive performance in his season debut? He does get an Oakland squad that is pretty weak offensively. He looks spectacular against Detroit. Uh, is there a bit of a hangover? Potentially. Um, his K prop sitting at 5.5. He is a minus 115 favorite. I mean, as of now, just have to put him in my pitcher pool. Um, but I wouldn't be shocked if suddenly he becomes chalkier because of the price point, and then I decide to go underweight, which I normally don't do with my pitchers. I tend to go overweight on everybody in my pool. Um, but in this instance, it might be a spot to go the other way to get leverage that way. That's something that'll come, as the afternoon progresses, and we can see some more numbers and really dig into everything. Hicks against Atlanta, no thank you. Pepia is intriguing to me, um, but he's one I want to dig into a little bit more. Uh, I like the potential upside, to be honest. So I'm probably going to try to find a way to include him in my pool. But again, it's got to make sense once I look into the matchup and get an idea from there. Dean Kramer not look good in his rehabs. Uh, so because of that, I don't think I'm going to be using him. It's going to be tough. He's put up some pretty strong numbers in some starts this season, and he gets a Seattle team that strikes out plenty. He does have two double-digit K performances on the year. So there is upside. I'm just not sure that he's ready to return. Looking at his rehab numbers that they have listed down here, uh, they just weren't good. Um, 3 rehab starts, less than 9 innings total, um, 4 home runs allowed. Strikeouts were there, but still, yeah, I'm gonna have to dig in. I think as of right now, I'd definitely rather play Pepiot than Daniel. Um, so he's probably on the outside looking in, unless some news comes out, that he's not going to face any restrictions. But I have a hard time to believe that he does not, based on he didn't really get extended all that much in his 3 starts. Michael Wacha is a guy that intrigues me. He's pretty strong against Tampa Bay the first time. If he had picked up the W, we're looking at over 25 fantasy points. He's allowed just 1 home run in 32 innings at home this season. So that's interesting to me. He's a minus 112 favorite, so it's basically a pick 'em at this point. K prop of 4.5 juice on the over. He might be the better play than Pepiot, especially because the Tampa Bay lineup is weaker in my eyes than Kansas City's. DFS, big time pitching prospect for the Twins. Did not rack up strikeouts in his debut. Got the win, but really hit a wall and allowed some runs. This is against the Detroit squad that's definitely not as dangerous as Arizona. So I am interested. His K prop is just 4.5, and he is a minus 175 favorite. So it's just a matter of deciding, do I think he has mid-20s fantasy upside? I kind of think he does, but right now he'd fall behind Wacha and Pepiot for me. So he just might not make the pool, which feels weird to say given that the matchup is intriguing. Joey Estes has some K upside. Just had a really strong performance against this Angel squad. He's pitching at home, where he's been really strong. His Ks haven't been there, but overall has been strong when pitching at home. So he might make the pool as well. Kind of have to dig in a little bit more. I like it on the surface, but again, I would need some more information. That's kind of it. We do have a bunch of guys that are in consideration. Estes, Festa, Wacha, Kramer, I guess, Pepiot, Daniel, Rodon, Stone, Imanaga, Blanco, Gilbert, Wheeler, and Sale. Kind of based on what I'm seeing right now, I could see myself definitely removing Blanco, maybe removing Imanaga from my pool. So decisions will have to be made, and I will make sure to make those for the members over at DFS Army. So there we have it. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on to get that alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.